Welcome to Talking Point with Stephen Taylor. It's good to have you along. And today I'm speaking to Xolani Sotashe, the mayoral candidate for the ANC in the Western Cape. Xolani, welcome, my brother. Good to have you here, man.
No, thank you very much, Stephen, for having me here.
Thank you for coming in. So tell me about yourself in more detail, where you grew up, just to get to know a bit more about you, your background. Where did you go to school? Where did you grow up? Where were you born, firstly?
Yeah, no, look, I was born here in Cape Town.
Okay, so you're
my dad comes from Eastern Cape, a small village called Somo there, and my mom comes from here in Cape Town. She was born in Blackheath. So you've got a combination of a rural and the urban. So I also normally say to people that I'm a product of two republics. The republic.
Eastern Cape is a republic, hey? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
a lot of black people I speak to, I say, where do you come from? No, Eastern Cape. I'm like, but wasn't anyone else born outside of the Eastern Cape? Good to see that you are, man.
Yes. I mean, I said to people, I'm that generation when you had the former homelands. Yes. They were called republics then. And when you come to Cape Town, you have a border gate in Queenstown. So when you enter that border gate, you are actually entering Republic of South Africa. Wow. So we had our own paramount chief there in the Eastern Cape, then the Republic of Transkei, Kaizer Dalewanga Matanzim. On this side, you had your president, P.W. Porter. I'm not sure whether he was a prime minister or president. Yeah, so you had those two republics. But look, I studied in Eastern Cape, my lower grades, matriculated there and came here. I'm coming from a very poor background. When I was growing up, I told myself that, look, I need to contribute for the betterment of our people. It can't be corrected that they will suffer forever. So my political activism was informed then by student politics. I was much more involved at school in terms of they shaped my politics, in terms of thinking and the way of doing things.
So how old are you now, if may I ask?
I'm 44 years now.
Oh, so you were involved, you were there in those years of apartheid?
Yes, I was there. I played my role as young as I was and continued to play that role until the breakthrough of 1994. I'm still continuing. When I came here, I had to, assist my dad in terms of the family because we've got a big family. It's 7 of us. Where all of us were still alive, but my dad is no more. So I had to go to school. During the day, at night, I must go and work, so that I can further my education. So currently, I'm also studying now. Whilst
what are you studying?
I'm busy with the public administration at the University of South Africa. I just wrote a few modules now, and then I'm going to re-register again now in the next term.
Do you think education is important? Do you think studying and furthering your education is important to people in South Africa?
No, it is important because, remember, our fathers did not have an opportunity to go to school. They fought this democracy through a stone. So our responsibility is to make sure that we defend this democracy through education. So hence, education becomes the priority of government. And I think kids of today must be privileged that government is actually now doing every effort to make sure that subsidized education, school, kids don't go to school with empty stomach. Kids are getting free textbooks at school. During those times, you were writing on the chalkboard. Wow. And you had to, wait for your parents to buy you books and so forth. So there's a journey that we have traveled as a country, and then we must appreciate that. Yes, there is a lot that needs to be done. So I want to be counted amongst those who have contributed to better the lives of our people, especially the poor.
So tell me about some of the challenges growing up in apartheid South Africa, going to school, some of the challenges that you faced. Corporal punishment, of course, was around then. Yeah. Tell us about some of the challenges that you...
Yeah, back then, at school, you wouldn't just come late and without no reason.
You get a hiding, yeah?
You will get a hiding from the teacher, you'll get a hiding from the principal during break. You have to go and see the principal in his or her office. and you'll get an additional punishment there.
The cane, right?
It was a cane, yes.
I also had a few hidings, don't tell anyone.
Now also, I mean, one of the really sad moments for me, it's when I was restricted to visit my family. My dad was a migrant labor. He was working in one of the firms here, Gens Food Factory. And every time that I have to visit my dad, I must ask my school to give me permission, get a permission from school. That will actually confine me to stay with my dad only for 7 days. Wow. So if I exceed 7 days, I will be detained in one of the police cells here.
Really?
Yes, I mean, I experienced that. Wow. I experienced that in Strand. And I told myself that, look, we can't allow this thing to continue forever. So there was a time when I did not actually notice that my permission was expired. I mean, my permission expired. So I stayed there, and then the police arrived, and they asked to look at my papers, and I gave them. They said, well, you are not supposed to be here. I said, I'm sorry, I did not realize.
Spending time with your dad?
Yeah, spending time with my dad, and then they took me to Strand Police Station, and then I was kept there as a school kid for 2 days. And I said to myself, well, my dad had to go there and pay a fine. So I said, well, I am going to continue to fight. And a few of us, as school kids, we said, guys, let's change the face of Luandle when we grow up. So if you go there now, because that area was a migrant area, if you go there now, we actually converted it into a residential area.
Where's that?
Luandle, it's located in Strand, near Somerset West.
But now we live in 2016, we live in this beautiful place we call home, Cape Town. Has much changed since the apartheid days until now? Because we hear lots of stories about how great the city of Cape Town is. They get clean audits and stuff like that. But in reality, to the people on the ground, that means nothing.
Well, I say to people, if they want to believe that, they must come closer and understand exactly how the city of Cape Town is operating. Fortunately, some of us have been there for quite some time, and we know the ins and outs of.
You're a councillor, right?
I'm a councillor there. We know the ins and outs of that city administration. We are living here in a two-tailed city, the city for the rich and the city for the poor. The poor still continue to suffer under this current administration, because that also is informed by resource allocations. I mean, there's a huge skewed resource allocation here. I mean, people who are staying in the historical disadvantaged communities, they are still at the receiving end. And you have a city that has got a huge budget. And
what is the budget? Do you know?
The current budget that we adopted for the 2016-2017, that will kick off on the 1st of July. It's over 41 billion rands.
41 billion, yes, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And then what is your priority then? Because in the city of Cape Town currently, you've got close to 400,000 the housing backlog. And you've got over 200 informal settlements across the city. But sadly so, you allocate 4 million rands across the city to install water pipes in the informal sector.
4 million.
4 million.
41 billion.
What do you do, I mean, with that? And we are saying that, look, the poor is not being prioritized in the city. And they constitute the majority of the population of the city of Cape Town.
But some of their own areas have been neglected. I mean, I've lived in areas like, I lived in Parow. I see the decrease in that area since over the last 10 years. That area has gone down. I mean, it's a crime hotspot now. The area is deteriorating on a daily basis. Areas like Goodwood, Woodstock, all these areas, it's not only poor areas, it's areas that were okay before are now not okay. It's deteriorating. The whole place is becoming unlivable for people. So I think that is something of concern, and I think that is something that needs to be sorted out and spoken about, because we don't hear about that. We only hear about how great the city of Cape Town is doing, and yes, they've done some great things, but yes, they've done some really stupid things as well. So there is a divide, I would agree with that, yes. And there needs to be this coming together and working together. We're not seeing that at the moment. So Xolani, tell me, since you've been a councillor, how many houses has the city of Cape Town built? Because we've seen the N2 project from national government. We've seen them coming and saying that this is the houses that we've built. How many houses has the city of Cape Town actually built since they've been in charge under the DA government?
Yeah, like just a typical example for this current administration under Delil. I wouldn't speak about your Den Plateaus and Helen Zille whilst they were mayors. It was a disaster. Even now it's a disaster. I put a question the other day in council. I said, look, when the ANC governed for that 4 years between 2002 and 2006, the housing delivery at that particular time was over 11,000. In average, in terms of housing delivery, was over 11,000 per annum.
And Noma India started?
Yes, it was under Noma India's time then, working together with the provincial government and national.
And she started the N2 Gateway project?
Yes. She started that N2 Gateway in partnership with the national government. Yes. Now, currently, I put that question to the mayor. I said, listen, can you just tell us what is an average housing delivery for the city of Cape Town per annum? Because they set targets and then they don't meet those targets. They said to people of Cape Town that they will deliver over 8,000 per annum. But as we speak now, their rate is at 6.4 per annum.
Almost half.
So between 2011 and now, they've only delivered 32,000. Now you've got a backlog of 400,000 here in the city, and you must be joking. And let me tell you this, national government is complaining about grants that they are giving to the city of Cape Town on housing development. And the city of Cape Town, for the last 3 years, the city of Cape Town has been is unable to spend those grants. Year in, year out, those grants have to be turned back to national government. As a result, there is a decrease now in terms of grants allocation for the city of Cape Town because they are not doing well. And the records are there. I mean, there was a time in the city of Cape Town where in 2014, 2015, they budgeted over 1.7 billion to spend for that financial year on human settlement. They only managed to spend less than R1 billion, about 962 million. And it was a shock for everybody because one would have expected that the city will exhaust that money and need more money. But instead of need more money, they were saying, no, guys, sorry, we can't spend this money. As we speak now, and then they are saying that they are serious about dealing about the issue of human settlement. As we speak now, they have just budgeted now less than R1 billion, R500 million. They are on R500 million for the next financial year. And you are asking yourself, are these guys serious about addressing the backlog? So we're saying then we have to step in and make sure that we undo this thing.
It's Talking Point with Stephen Taylor, and we're in conversation with Xolani Sotashe here on, the Western Cape mayoral candidate for the ANC. We'll be back and talk more with him next. It's Talking Point with Stephen Taylor. Welcome back. We are in conversation with Xolani Sotashe, the Western Cape mayoral candidate for the ANC, or should I say, sorry, Cape Town mayoral candidate, because Western Cape is big, eh? You're not representing all the municipalities.
That's the city of Cape Town. That's the city of Cape Town.
Good to have you back, brother. Yeah. So, what are you planning to do? Of course, you got the call, mayoral candidate for Cape Town. Were you surprised and shocked by that?
Well, I was taken by surprise that my name came on top, and I was confirmed by the national leadership of the ANC. The only thing that the Secretary General could say to me said, bring hope to the people of Cape Town. That's all I'm saying to you.
That's what we do need, hope.
Well, we have to redeem the city because, as I said earlier, we are living in a very divided city. People don't trust each other here. We have to bring people together. People must speak with one voice. We have to undo this apartheid spatial planning in the city of Cape Town. We have to make sure that we bring about mixed development within the CBD. So there mustn't be a section of the community that feels that we don't belong to the city. We must reach to all these people of Cape Town, enjoying our diverse cultural formations so that we get to know each other. Of course, the priority will be the poor. It can't be correct that in a city of Cape Town, with its richness, the poor continues to suffer. So my first task is to bring hope to people and say to them, look, let's have a dialogue. How do we bring about the issue of social cohesion?
I think normally India many years ago had a dialogue. We had a City of Cape Town dialogue speaking about all the inequalities in the City of Cape Town, and many people came together. I sat in that meeting as well, and it was an open meeting. We sat in the council chambers and we just aired our views, and we need more like that. We need more dialogues like that, more debates like that, where people can come and air their concerns, no matter of their race, gender, or whatever. People can have their say. We need more of that. We don't see that happening at the moment. Xolani, I want to ask you a very interesting question now. The ANC in the Western Cape has lost a lot of ground with the infighting that has taken place, the incidents that have taken place with Faiz and Marius. Your views on that? Because, I mean, people might support you as the mayoral candidate, but at the end of the day, the provincial ANC is going to be the one that is going to be partnering with you and telling you what to do. What would you say to people that have got this thing about the provincial ANC, that there are these things going on right now? What would you say to them?
Well, I think from the onset, we can't deny that there are challenges in the organization, and I think the ANC is responding to those challenges very well in terms of how it handles the internal challenges within the organization. But I think also we must remind people we are fighting local government here. Where we are fighting these elections, it's at our space, that is at the regional level. Of course, we are getting that support from the provincial leadership, we're getting that support from national government. But we're taking this fight at our level to the doorstep of our rivals to make sure that come the 3rd of August, we deliver these elections. So we are actually saying to people, look, the ground is very fertile. I went to Mitchell's Plain and have a debate in Mitchell's Plain, and not just only on that day of the debate. Way before even I was announced as a mayoral candidate, I was just doing my constituency work of going around in the city, understanding the challenges that people have. I happened to go and do my constituency work in Mitchell's Plain. It was shocking to see how people were living in Mitchell's Plain, in particular those emerging business people.
And people live in fear every day.
Yes, trying to get support from the city, and then they were not. Like, for instance, if you go to town center, those people are being harassed by law enforcement agencies from the city. Some of the stalls that they are operating from, electricity has not been working for almost a year. So I gave undertaking to those people that I would be taking up these issues with the city. And I must tell you, I was very hard on the officials, saying that, look, I want these things to be fixed within a month. And I'll tell you what, those problems were solved. And people were happy. Yet you've got a councillor of the DA that is serving that community. And people were telling us that up front, look, the DA thinks that Mitchell's Plain is their, fertile ground where they will come just to use us as a voting cows. Now we are tired of this. And Delil must know from now going forward that we're not going to be taken for granted. So that's why she could not pitch up in the debate for the SAFM, because people were asking questions. There is a development that she promised people of Beacon Valley, that she will be delivering houses in that area. And people of Beacon Valley, fortunately, that debate happened in Beacon Valley. I was there because I said there were budgets that were allocated for those projects. But because there was a lack of leadership from the side of the city, monies had to be rolled over to the next financial years, to the following financial years.
You know, we can't always speak bad about the ANC. We also have to speak bad about other political parties when they're not doing things. And I think in Cape Town, when you speak out against the DA, you're almost seen as like, what are you doing? That's why are you doing that? But I think it's important for us to praise the successes of a political party, but also look at the things that they're doing wrong, and so that they can learn from that. And we've got, crime is increasing, things are happening in the community, but people are scared to vote for another party because they don't know what to expect. Yeah. What would you say to them?
Well, I have started a journey already of reaching out to communities. I've been in Clifton, if you know Clifton. And you might think that people staying...
You skinnied up? No.
Yeah, no, I didn't scare them at all. I went there because I had an interest of the issues that they were raising. Yes. Here is a white community saying to me, look, we need help. I mean, I said, well, we are here to service you because we are councillors. Even if we are ANC councillors, but we are councillors of the city of Cape Town, we must service the whole community. The city was trying to bully those people to privatize the development in Clifton, trying to privatize the Maiden's Cove. Remember, that Maiden's Cove has got a history. People from Mitchell's Plain, Pontieville, they go there and they enjoy themselves. So all of a sudden now, there comes the city of Cape Town taking a unilateral decision without engaging the community of Clifton about the development. And we told them that we know that there are big businesses behind that particular approach, because the level of arrogance that was shown to those people was unbelievable. So we arrived there, we said, no. This is how we understand things. And they were even wanting to encroach an heritage site. And we said we can't, because these people are crying that, look, just engage us, listen to us. And you are, because you claim to have received a mandate from the electorate, you'll do what you want to do. Yet the same electorate is saying, we don't agree with you, and then you don't want to listen. So there was a very good interface with the community out there. Areas that we were not expected that we can interface with. So I'm saying, with people who are staying in areas that they think when the ANC takes over, it will actually shut those areas out. No, not at all. Our view is very simple. We must live in harmony. We must live with one people. But also, at the same time, we must face the reality. There are serious divisions in this city. The segregation of the past is still alive in the city. So all of us, we must take cognizance of that. We must agree that we have to walk hand in hand in integrating the city of Cape Town. So the kind of a city that must mirror a unity of its own people. So hence I'm going to embark on this journey of reaching out to communities and having dialogues with these communities, because it can't be correct that there are barriers between our communities, that you've got a community for the rich and the community for the poor. We will continue to maintain the infrastructure that is there already. Make no mistake, we will continue. There will be budgets that will be put aside to make sure that we maintain those that kind of an infrastructure that has been put in place. But the priority has to be the poor, because we can't be the city that has got clean audits. And I must appreciate the fact that city, in terms of its books, is doing well. But books alone does not reflect what is happening on the ground.
That's right.
So even when the ANC was in power then, ANC had a clean audits. I mean, not a single administration here had qualified audit. So it's something that I always remind Delil when she brags about under the DA government has been clean audit, unqualified audit, as if in other administrations they were qualified audits. Yeah. The ANC set the foundation. I mean, when the DA took over in 2006, they took over a municipality that was financially sound, because in reserves at the time they had over 2 billion rands in reserve. So it was a very sound administration, but the change of guard came in, and then they continued with that kind of a foundation that was laid. So that's a credit that I can also give in terms of how we've been doing in terms of making sure that our books, there are checks and balances.
It's Talking Point with Stephen Taylor. We're in conversation with Xolani Sotashe, the Cape Town mayoral candidate for the ANC. Xolani, thank you for coming, brother. It was really good. I really enjoyed our chat. Anything in closing from yourself that you'd like to say to the people?
Well, I'm saying to the people, especially those who are living in Cape Flats and Manningberg and other areas, one, we commit to make sure that we partner with them to fight crime. We can't continue to have this kind of a funny style of dealing with crime. We must win people on our side. Let's make sure that we establish street committees, we work with the NGOs, we work with the religious leaders, we support them financially and otherwise to make sure that people live safe. They don't live in fear. And once people must claim back their streets. We must make sure that our streets lights are burning at night, so that you don't have a chance for these gangsters to operate in the dark. And we will make sure that we establish rehabilitation centers for those that have come forward for help. We rehabilitate them to make sure that we use them as ambassadors of the communities of the city to persuade those who are still involved in these kind of dubious actions.
Is the city doing that at the moment? Because we've seen this whole anti-substance campaign, but has the city actually opened up a rehabilitation center?
Well, if you look at the kind of the work that they are doing in terms of these rehabilitation centers, it's a kind of an ad hoc approach. There's no buy-in from communities. Those rehabilitation centers must be fully run by communities and get the support from the city of Cape Town. Because once you do that, it is these communities that will be able to help the city to identify some of these individuals that needs help. And we need moral leadership. You can't have an MEC of safety and security who happens to be the friends of gang bosses, and then you think that you can fight drugs. Nobody, it's an open secret that Dan Plato is friend of these gang bosses here in the Western Cape, yet we put our faith in him in fighting crime. So we're saying that we are going to make sure that this kind of behavior must come to an end.
But there's also been stories about Morris funds from the gang people as well. So
exactly,
we can't always take what they say in the media as gospel. We also need to do our own investigation as well.
I'm saying any leader that is associated to funny, dubious characters, we must condemn that. You know, especially those, their names have been mentioned. It's up to them to come forward and say, no, look, these are stories. But I think from the principal point of view, all of us as society, we must say we can't have leaders who associate themselves with funny characters who are destroying our society. So we must lead by examples. So by example. So hence I'm saying that it's very clear for in terms of our plan. Let's claim our streets back through that partnership with communities.
Xolani Sotashe, mayoral candidate for the ANC. Thank you, brother. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Of course, the elections on August the 3rd. Make sure that you are going out to vote then and being a part of change in South Africa. Change is possible, and it's up to us to be able to make that change. So go out on the 3rd of August, and make your voice heard in the upcoming local government elections. Talking Point with Stephen Taylor. Catch you back next week, same time, same place. At Stephen Taylor SA on Facebook and Twitter, and facebook.com Talking Point on Facebook if you want to get in touch with the show. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.